Hi beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while, a year. I missed you guys and I'm happy to be back. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to do the Onyx crochet fringe top. I'm going to put it somewhere on the screen so you guys can see what it looks like. I'll be guiding you step by step how to complete this top so you can wear it out and look cute and feel nice. Yeah. However, before we start, I want to make sure that you have one measurement on hand, and that's your underbust measurement. So you're gonna take your tape measure. You're gonna need a measuring tape. So you're gonna take your tape measure and just quickly measure your underbust area. Measure it in inches. Write it down because we're gonna be using that. Okay. So let's move on to the video. Okay, love. So what we're gonna need to create this top. Our materials are a 4mm hook, a 5mm hook. We're going to use a 5mm hook to do some chain, and then the 4mm hook to do the rest of our work, a measuring tape, and a pair of scissors. I like to use my yarn guide so it can take off some of the yarn burn off my hand. So if you're interested in that, I can give you an Amazon link for it. And lastly, the yarn we're going to be working with today is this milk cotton yarn. I call it the moo yarn because this has a cow on it. So this is a worsted weight yarn. If you're interested in this yarn too, I can give you a link to it so you can purchase it. So yeah, let's get started. Now that we have taken our underbust and the bust measurements, we are going to go into creating the band of the top, and this band is going to be done using the underbust measurements that that you've got. So my underbust measurement comes up to 31 inches, right? So I'm going to make the band 31 inches. But here's the thing, when you're doing a band and you're crocheting a band, to be specific, you have to keep in mind that crochet does stretch. So what I like to do when I have my underbust measurement, I take off 3 inches off it, right? Anywhere from 2 to 3 inches is fine. So when the band does stretch, it can stretch to fit you, as it should, and not be too loose. So with that said, I'm gonna make my my underbust band to be about 28 inches because I like my crochet top to fit a bit tight. Okay, so let's get started. Keeping our measuring tape close by so we can keep a track of our measurements, we're going to take our 5mm hook and we're going to chain 100. This will be the string that ties at the back. So let's get to chaining. Okay, so now that we have chained 100, we're going to switch out the hook. I will now be doing the body, so I'm going to change to my 4mm hook, right? And what I'm going to do now is keeping the 100 chain marked. I like to mark it using my thumb. I'm going to chain 3, right? After I chain 3, I'm going to do a double crochet in that same chain where the 100 chain. I'm going to do a double crochet in the 100 chain. I'm going to do another double crochet in that same chain. So in total I should have 3 stitches in that 100 chain. That will be the chain of 3 and 2 double crochet, right? I'm going to chain up 3 again, turn our work, and then we're going to do a double crochet in the same double crochet stitch, the last double crochet stitch we did in the first row, because I guess we can call this the first row. So I'm going to do a double crochet stitch right here, right? Then we're going to go and do another double crochet stitch into the next double crochet stitch, and then in the top chain of the chain 3 that we did, we're going to do 2 double crochets. So in total we should have 5 stitches. 1 2 3 4 5, right? Now let's talk about size when making this. If you want your band to be a bit more thicker, you're gonna increase another row, right? So how we increase, we chain the 3, turn around, do a double crochet stitch, fill out all the stitches with 1 double crochet each, and do 2 more double crochets in this last stitch. But I'm gonna stop here, right? Because this is how thick I want my band to be. I'm gonna stop increasing, and then I'm gonna do a double crochet into the second double crochet from the last row, right? I'm gonna put another double crochet into the next stitch, another double crochet into the next stitch, and another one into the next stitch. So we're done with the increasing. I'm just gonna basically repeat this last row all the way across, just taking a measuring tape every now and then and just measuring how many inches this band actually is. As you see, I'm just building up my band right now. Oh yes guys, whenever you are measuring your band, you have to keep in mind that you have to stretch it to measure it, right? So let's see what we have so far. Alright, I'm holding the end here and I'm gonna just stretch, and so far I have 6.5 inches, right? So you have to stretch your work. Do not measure it relaxed, because when you put on your crochet clothing, you kind of do have to stretch it along your body for it to fit snug, right? So it doesn't, you know, hang loose. So stretch it whenever you're measuring it, stretch it. So this is 6.5 inches so far. I still have a bit way to go, so I'll meet you guys back when I'm almost there. I am on row 40, and now I'm gonna make my last check with the measuring tape to see where I am. So let's do that. Line it up just like this, and then we're gonna stretch the band along the measuring tape, and as you can see, I'm at about 28 inches, right? Which is about 3 inches less than the 31 inches. So that's good, that's good. What I'm gonna do now, I am going to basically go back where I came from. So we started the row by doing 3 stitches in the 100 stitch, and then we increase the second row. Now we want to close out just like this. So what we're going to do is decrease, right? So let's do that. We're going to do that. So we're going to chain up 3, turn our work, and we're basically going to do a DC3 together. So how we do that, we're going to yarn over, right, and put a hook through the second double crochet stitch, pull up some yarn just like that, we're going to go directly into the third stitch. We're not going to do any yarn over or anything. We're just going to put our hook in that third stitch. Then we're going to yarn over and pull up some yarn. So right now I have about 3 loops on my yarn, if you can see. So I'm going to yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, just like this. I'm going to have 2 loops left, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops, and that's how I decrease. Now what I'm going to do now is just go and do a double crochet into the next stitch and another double crochet into that last stitch, which is a chain of 3, and we have our second to last row of decreasing. Now let's do that last row. We're going to chain up 2, turn our work, yarn over, go directly into the second stitch from the last row, pull up. Again, we're not going to yarn over anything. We're going to go directly into that third stitch and we're going to pull up some yarn, just like so. We're going to have 3 loops, 1 2 3, or you can call it 4, but I like to eliminate this one. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through all those 3 loops. But here's the thing, I'm going to stop right here. I'm not going to yarn over and pull through these 2 just yet. Right, so I'm going to do a yarn over and do a double crochet. I'm basically doing a double crochet right into the last stitch. And I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull through those 2 loops. So I should have 3 loops left. What I'm going to do now is yarn over and pull through all those 3 loops. Just like that. So you see that it kind of matches back with the beginning of the work. Right? Now I'm going to switch out my hooks. Chaining time. I always like to chain with a 5mm hook. You don't have to. You can use the same hook if you want. But I'm going to switch out. I'm going to chain 100 just like how I did in the beginning. Finish chaining 100. I'm just gonna snip snip. What I like to do with my end is just knot them. So just a simple knot, just like this, and pull on it real tight. I do it with the other end, just like that. Now we have completed our band. We are now going to make the shoulder band, and these will go over the shoulder and onto the back. Right now I have 42 rows in this band, and I'm gonna find the basically the center of it, because I need to mark the center. So we're just gonna count the rows. If you have 44 rows, then you just half that, and that should be 22. So you're gonna find the 22nd row and mark that. If you have 45 rows though, you're gonna have to find that dead smack middle row and then mark it. But if you aren't too sure, here's what I do. I like to start at the end, just basically keep both my fingers moving at the same time and just count 1 2 3. So I'm basically counting down into the middle. So I make sure that my fingers are on the same row at either side, and I just count down. So this is 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20, and there we go. This is the center stitch. I have a marker, so I'm just gonna mark it right now so I don't forget it, just like that. So if you can't bother with all the math, just count right down, just like what I did. Okay, so we're going to start working on the shoulder band now. So when you have marked your middle stitch, and keep in mind this does not have to be a stitch, it can also be a row if you have an odd amount of rows. So if you have 41 rows, 39 rows, 47 rows, you're gonna have an odd row out, and if that's the case, you start in the middle of the odd row, whatever stitch it is. For example, this is the odd row and not an odd stitch, because if it's even, it's gonna be a stitch, but if it's odd, it's gonna be a row. And how you're going to start is that you're just going to mark the center stitch in the odd row. If it's a chain of 3, you're going to use the middle stitch. However, if it's a double crochet chain, you're just going to basically stick your hook right here, or just stick the marker right here. See? Alright. Now this is the part where you decide how much cleavage you want to show. If you don't want that much cleavage, you're going to start in the stitch beside that center stitch, or if it's a row, you're going to start in the next row. If this is the center stitch in your odd row, you're going to start basically right here, if you get what I'm saying. But here's the thing, if you don't want a lot of cleavage showing, or you don't want any cleavage at all, you would start as possible, as close as possible to that center mark, right? So you get what I'm saying. If you don't understand, you get what I'm saying after I explain the shoulder strap, right? So this is the center stitch, this is where my marking is. I don't want too much cleavage right now, so I'm gonna start in the stitch beside it. I'm gonna put my hook in this stitch just like this, and I'm gonna pull my yarn through and chain 3 just like that. I'm gonna do a double crochet in that stitch beside. If it's a chain 3, you're gonna do a double crochet in that chain beside it just like that. If it's a double crochet stitch like this, instead of a chain 3, you're just gonna go directly inside the double crochet stitch just like that, right? So you have your first double crochet. I'm gonna put my second double crochet into the next chain like so, as you can see, and then I'm going to put my last double crochet in the stitch beside it just like that. Okay, after that I'm going to chain up 3, turn my work, do a double crochet into the next stitch, a double crochet into the next stitch, and the last double crochet of the row should go into the first chain in the chain of 3. So you're going to repeat this until you have about 32 rows. Okay, so we're just going to continue building up our rows until we have 32 rows in total. Okay, so I have completed 32 rows for the shoulder band, right? And this is totally adjustable. If you find that it's too loose, you can take off a row or 2, or if it's too short, you can add a row or 2, because I know that everybody is shaped differently. Sometimes, you know, your shoulder width is different, it's shorter, it's longer, so you can adjust it to meet your needs. All right, so now that we have all those that we need, I'm just going to lay the top facing up, right? We worked on the left side first, so we're going to join the end of the shoulder band to the underbust band. Now how we're going to do that, we take our hook out, ensure that it's straight. Oh gosh, don't go through. Yes, ensure that it's straight. And we're going to basically join the shoulder band to the second and third rows of the underbust band. Okay, second to third last rows, I should be saying. So how we're going to do that, so make sure that everything is lined up perfectly, right side up, just like this. And then we're going to flip it just like that. So it was like this before. Moving it more into the picture, it was just like this before, everything facing right side up. We're going to put it in line of the second and third last rows on the underbust band, just like this. And we're basically just going to flip it just like that. When you have done that, hold it in place just like so. Hold it right in place, see that? And we're gonna turn the band part to you just like this. Now we're gonna start joining, and how we do that, we're going to find the the top of the first row, the stitch right here. I don't know if you can see the top of the first row, and the stitch is right here. Put your hook through right there, grab the yarn from the shoulder band right there and pull it through. See that? Let's do it again. Put your hook through the stitch of the first row on the underbust band, just like that, and then we're going to pull through the loop from the shoulder band, just like that. We're going to do a slip stitch just like this, and then we're going to start the joining process. I'm going to use a single crochet stitch to join. I'm going to put back my hook through that same stitch, but I'm going to carry it through the first double crochet stitch on the shoulder band, just like that. I'm going to just join it using a single crochet. Right, I'm going to move on to the second stitch, which is a chain in the chain of 3. I'm going to push my hook through that, and then I'm going to push my hook through the second double crochet stitch on the shoulder band like this. Join it with a single crochet. Moving on to the next stitch, just like this. I'm going into the third double crochet stitch from the shoulder band, joining it with a single crochet, and I'm going into the last stitch on the underbust band, bringing it through that last stitch 2 on the shoulder band, and I'm going to do the last single crochet just like that. It's basically worked into the second to last row and the top of the third row. I don't know if you want to call the entire stretch of this the second to last row then, because it really is if you think about it. But yeah, what I'm gonna do now is secure it by just chaining, tightening, and I'm gonna cut this. So this is what I have so far. When I put it in place, this is how it looks. Let me lay it flat so you can see how it looks. So basically this is what we did, just like that. So your arms will go through this part here. And what we're going to do now is the same thing on the other side. When I'm talking about cleavage now, it depends on how much cleavage you want to show. If you want a lot of cleavage showing, you start further away from that center mark. If you want less, you'd start nearer to the center mark, right? So let's go again. I'm starting here. Basically, you're just going to repeat the process that you did on this side, but I'm going to show you again how to start, because this time we're going to work our way into a double crochet stitch instead of a chain 3, right? So let's go. With your work facing right side up, you're going to find the row beside that center stitch and start. Put a hook through the first stitch and chain up 3, just like that. You're going to turn your work, yarn over. I like to kind of hide my yarn as I do my work, but I want you guys to see where I'm actually putting my hook, so I'm just going to put it to the side here. I'm going to yarn over and put my hook right here. I don't know if you can see it properly, but I'm putting my hook right here. I'm going to do the first double crochet here, like that. I'm going to put the second double crochet right in this section here. You're basically finding a space into the double crochet that the hook can be pushed through, if you get what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be done exactly how I did it, but you know, any way you do it, just make sure that you have 4 stitches at the end of the day. Alright, we're going to put the double crochet in the last stitch, and that's it. Chain 3, turn your work, and then we'll continue on until you have 32 rows, or how many rows that you choose to have, because it doesn't have to be exact amount of rows that I have. So we're just going to continue. Okay, so I finished my 32 rows on the other side. I'm just going to line it up and join it, just like how I did the first side. So I'm lining it up just like this. Then I'm gonna flip it. So basically the right side of the shoulder band is facing the right side of the underbust band, right? And it's lined up with the top of the first row on the underband. You're lining up stitch to stitch, right? We're going to flip the work and just basically pull our yarn through. Pull the yarn through from the shoulder band into the stitch at the top of the first row on the underband, just like this. I'm just going to do a slip stitch. Alright, so we're going to turn the work again and basically join, just like what we did with the left side. We're just joining with a single crochet stitch. Yeah, when I'm done, I just chain again and snip snip snip, just like that. So I'm gonna lay out what we have so far. Alright, so this is what we have so far. I'm gonna put it on the mannequin and then we're gonna talk about the next step. This is what we have so far, right? You can see how everything lines up. This is the underbust band and these are the shoulder straps. So what we're going to work on next is basically the little boob holding section. It's going to be done using some crochet mesh work. Nothing too fancy, but we just want to create something to hold the boobs in place under all of the fringes, and you can see the cleavage space that was made. Remember we talked about how much cleavage you want to show, so the further you go, the further, you know, apart it will be. So if you had skipped another row, then the shoulder strap would be basically like this over the boob instead of this. So it's really up to your preference on how much cleavage you want to show. If you want more cleavage, go further out. Less cleavage, bring it together. Alright, so let's move on to creating the support for the boobs. What we're going to do with our work laying the right side up, we are going to begin working right here. Okay, so we're going to put this up just like so. And we're going to move the marker from our previous location, and we're going to put it right in this center of the V shape, just like that. That's what we're going to mark that stitch right there. We're just going to use it as a guide, right? So we're going to start our work. I don't know if you can see it properly. We're going to start our work at the top of the very first row beside the mark stitch. This is the mark stitch. This is the row beside it. On the right hand side, we're going to start at the top right here in the chain of 3 stitch. Just like that. I'm going to pull through our yarn loop, and we're just going to chain 2, 1, 2, like that. We're going to do a double crochet right into the mark stitch, just like this, and then we're going to chain 2 again and slip stitch right into the first stitch at the top of row 1 on the left hand side. So you know, we have, I'm gonna lay it flat so you can see a bit better. You know, we have the first row, the row beside the stitch on the right hand side. We're gonna start at the row beside the stitch on the left hand side, and we're starting right here in that first double crochet stitch. After we chain our 2, we're going to do a slip stitch right here. And this is what it should look like, just like this. We're going to chain 2, we're going up into the other row, we're going to chain 2 and do a slip stitch at the top of the second row, and this is on the left hand side. We're going to do a slip stitch just like that, chain 2 and turn our work, right? So we're gonna go and do a double crochet after that, chain 2 into the middle stitch. Right, so we're gonna do the first double crochet stitch into that middle stitch that we did in the previous row right here. Let me remove the marker because we don't need this anymore. We already marked the stitch and I want you guys to see it properly. So that double crochet that we did right in that center stitch here, we're going to do the double crochet after the chain 2. I'm going to chain 2 again and do another double crochet into that same stitch, just like that. I'm going to chain 2 and then we're going to do a slip stitch at the top of this second row, just like this. So this is what we're looking at so far. So basically increasing as we go along. We're going to have about 6 rows of increase. So let's continue. We're going to chain 2. Again, we're going to do a slip stitch now at the top of row 3 into that chain of 3 stitch. Just like that. We're going to chain 2 and turn over. Right, so now we're going to do a double crochet into this first double crochet stitch, just like this, and we're going to chain 2 and do another double crochet into that very same stitch, just like that. We're going to chain 2 and do another double crochet stitch into the second double crochet stitch in the previous row that we did, like so. And then we're going to chain 2 and do another double crochet stitch in that same stitch, just like this. We're going to chain 2 and then slip stitch into the top corner stitch of the third row. We're going to chain up 2 and do a slip stitch into the top corner stitch of the fourth row, just like that. We're going to chain 2, turn our work, and do a double crochet stitch into the first double crochet stitch of the previous row, just like that. We're going to chain 2 and then do another double crochet stitch in that same stitch, just like that. So we're going to chain 2 and do 1 double crochet stitch in the next double crochet stitch. We're going to chain 2, do 1 double crochet stitch in that next double crochet stitch, just like that. I'm going to chain 2, do another double crochet stitch in that next double crochet stitch, and I'm going to chain 2 and slip stitch into the top corner stitch of the fourth row. So we only increased once in this row, and this is the fourth row. Let's move on to the fifth row. Chain 2, do a slip stitch into the top corner stitch of the fifth row, and we're going to chain 2, flip our work, and do a double crochet into that first double crochet stitch of the previous row. Chain 2 again and do a double crochet into that same stitch. It should look like this. And we're just going to chain 2 and put a double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet stitch. Let me fix that. And chain 2 and put another double crochet into that next double crochet stitch, and we're just repeating that. We're only increasing in 1 stitch per row from now on. We're going to make sure that you chain your last 2 stitches and slip stitch into the top corner stitch of the fifth row. And this is what your work should look like so far. Right, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 rows so far. We need 1 more row of increase, so let's continue. Chain 2, slip stitch into the top corner stitch of the 6th row, chain 2, flip your work, double crochet into that double crochet stitch from the previous row, chain 2 and double crochet into that very same stitch, and we're going to chain 2, double crochet into the next double crochet stitch, chain 2, double crochet into that next double crochet stitch, chain 2, double crochet into the next double crochet stitch, chain 2, double crochet into the next double crochet stitch, chain 2, double crochet into the next double crochet stitch, chain 2, and then do a slip stitch into the top corner stitch in the 6th row. Alright, I'm gonna lay it flat for you to see again. This is how it should look. Alright, let me lay it flat, the entire work. So this is how it looks. Alright, so we'll finish with the increase. I'm making the cup for a C cup right now, so I'm stopping at the 6th row. If you are a B cup, you'd stop at the 5th row, and if you are an A cup, you'd stop at the 4th row. If you're a D cup, you'd increase 1 more row, so you'd have 7 rows of increase. A double D, you'd increase to 8 rows. Okay, you can make the adjustment based on the size that you're making. Alright, so let's continue. Where am I? Alright, so I'm going to chain up 2, slip stitch into this corner stitch in the 7th row, that top corner stitch into the 7th row, chain 2. We're not going to increase again, so we're just going to put 1 double crochet in each of these stitches going across. So I'm going to double crochet in that first double crochet stitch, chain 2, double crochet in that second stitch, chain 2, double crochet in that third double crochet stitch, chain 2, double crochet in the 4th, and work our way across, all the way across. Alright, and we have done our last double crochet and chain 2. We're going to slip stitch into the top corner stitch of the 7th row, just like that. This is what we have so far now. You can see that we didn't increase at all in this row. So let's chain 2, slip stitch into that top corner stitch in the 8th row, chain 2. I'm going to repeat again, 1 double crochet into 1 double crochet stitch from the previous row. Remember to chain 2 between each double crochet stitch. Alright, I'm gonna slip stitch again into the top corner stitch of the 8th row. I'm doing 10 rows in total, so 2 more rows and then that should be it. Chain 2, do a slip stitch into the top corner stitch in the 9th row, then we chain 2, flip our work and just put a double crochet into those double crochet stitches from the previous row. Now chain 2, slip stitch into the corner stitch of the 9th row, and I'm going to do the very last row, which is the 10th row. If you want to give yourself some more support for the boob, or you want more coverage for the boob, then you just continue up another row or 2, or as much row as you'd like to go. Feel free to customize it as you'd like. Okay, alright, so this is my last row. Chain 2, slip stitch into that top corner stitch of the 10th row, chain 2, flip the work, and then do a double crochet into each double crochet stitch right across. Chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, and we're just going to go all the way across. Alright, so we're going to do our last slip stitch into that top corner stitch in the 10th row, and that's it. We're going to chain one, tighten just like that, and just snip snip. I'm going to put it on the mannequin now so you guys can see what we have done. Okay, so this is what we've done so far. This is the work of the boob cup, or the boob support as I'd like to call it. This is what 10 rows would give you, but if you do have bigger boobs, you definitely need to carry it up a bit more so you can get the full support that the boobs need. So right now we're going to complete the other side and then install the fringes. Okay, so I'm on the last row of the other cup. Okay, so this is what we have when we have completed both sides. As you can see that on the first side I ended on the shoulder strap, but on the other side I ended on the underbust strap, and that's perfectly normal. Wherever you end, it's fine, as long as you have the same equivalent row, same amount of rows on both sides. Okay, now let's go make some fringes. I want to put this to the side just for a bit. I'm going to teach you guys how to make some fringes. Okay, so grab a book. I'm using this book, it's pretty old. This is my fringe making book, but grab any book that you can find and grab the yarn that you're using. Okay, let me tell you something. The length of the book will determine how long your fringes are. So I want my fringes to be, where's my tape measure? 1 minute. Okay, yes, I found it. So the length that this book will give me is about 8 inches. Alright, if you want to turn the book the other way for longer fringes, it's supposed to give you like 10.5-inch length fringes, but for me, I don't want my fringes too long, so I'm going to use the book like this. No, I have another roll of yarn, so I'm going to be using that too, so I can make the fringes much quicker. So I'm going to take the ends of the yarn, turn the book sideways just for a minute, place the end of the yarn at the end of the book. I'm just going to wrap it around. How many times? I don't know. We're just going to wrap it around until I just stop. Because as many times that I've done this, I don't know how many rounds it takes to give me enough fringes to do the entire top. 1 second. This one in a way. Where is it? Hold on. Technical difficulties. So we're back. Oh my gosh. You guys hear the thunder? It's a hot mess. Look at this. Where is the sun coming from? Come on. Okay, let's work with this for now. I'm gonna cut, and then we're just gonna bend whatever we're using a bit. And voila. Let's start off with this amount for now. Okay, so with our top facing right side up, we're gonna grab 2 of the yarn together like this, right? And then we're going to start right in that same stitch where the V is. If you can see right here, that's where we're gonna start. And I'm gonna just go into the first row. This is the first stitch in the first row of the shoulder strap. I'm gonna put my hook through the space like that and carry it down and into the stitch, just so. So again, put a hook between the 2 double crochets in the first row of the shoulder strap and just bring it down, under and into the stitch. After that, I'm gonna make sure that these fringes are basically equal. Pull it through like this, and then put the ends of the string through the loops and tie, just like that. So here's how we're going to fill up the shoulder strap. Let's grab 2 more. You put in 1 into the stitch, 1 around the double crochet, 1 into the stitch, 1 around the chain 3. We get 1 1 1 1 going all the way up. So let's go now into the first stitch. We're going to make the fringe right there, just like that. Grab 2 more and go into the stitch above the double crochet, this stitch right here. Pull it up, pull it through. This is what we got so far. Let's continue. We're going around the chain 3. Ends into the loop, pull. Let's go again. This time we're going into the stitch. The stitch should be right here. Oh. Gotta make sure that it's leveled and then pull it through. So you see it all coming together. So we're gonna continue doing this all the way around until this very last row on the shoulder band. By the way, always push the yarn under the first stitch on the shoulder band. So if you buck up on this, which is the additional chain 2 that we've done when we were creating the cup, don't go around this, ignore this, go around the first stitch that we did. or the inner stitches I should say, of the shoulder strap or the shoulder band. So we're going in the stitch again, which is here. And when you get to here, you can basically hide your loose end by doing that. Alright, so I've covered most of the boob area like so. We're gonna continue all the way to the back. Same method. You're going around the double crochet like that, and then into the stitch. We're just gonna continue and I'll meet you at the end. I'm gonna put one more here just to like close up the gap. So let's do that, and then I'm gonna put it on the mannequin so you can see how it should look. Okay. Alright, so let's do a mannequin fit. See what else we need to do. If we need to fill out any more spaces, in that time we can do that. I already seen some spaces. I think I'm gonna fill out here before I even put it on the mannequin. I'm seeing spaces. I'm gonna put one more here because I don't like to see a large gap between the fringes. Okay, so let's fill. This is the mannequin check. This is what one side completed looks like. You can see that we have the fringes over the boob support mesh. That's what I like to call it, the boob support mesh. And let me turn, see if I can turn her so you guys can see the back. And this is what the back should look like, the side. Okay, so what we're going to do now is to complete the other side using the same instructions that I have given you, and then we'll come back for the final look. All right. Alright, so I've completed the other side and I put it back on the mannequin because now it's time to shape it up. And we're just gonna like cut the fringes a little bit straighter coming down, but it's really and truly optional. If you want to do that, you can. If you want to leave it as it is, you can, but I'm just gonna cut it a bit down like that. I'm just cutting along the line, little bit, and this part is all up to you. If you want to carry it a bit shorter, you can cut across like that. It depends on how long you want your fringes to be, but I want my fringes to be down here, so I'm just gonna cut, and I basically do this all the way around to the back. Just short snips, nothing too big. Just want to line it up a bit. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side, but I'm going to try and like match it. Keep it like the same level as the other side. Let me see. I'm just going all the way up. We're going to do that all the way around to the back. Snip, 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 snip. We're basically going to do the same, going up on this side.